Fall asleep fast in the sleep story for adults and guided meditation. Relax deeply and enjoy a delicious escape on the night before Thanksgiving. The chill of fall is in the air in Manhattan, and you are bundled in a scarf and jacket as you watch the Macy's Day floats being inflated for the annual parade. Sipping on a hot beverage, you walk along Central Park West to a historic pre-war building that overlooks the park and city skyline. You return to a cozy apartment and make preparations for the holiday as you are visited by loved ones conjured by memories made over the holiday dishes you recreate. You retire in the living room, looking out French windows onto Central Park, while snow flurries fall and a fire burns in the fireplace. It's time to dream away. I'd like to welcome you to Michelle's Sanctuary. I am Michelle, and as you are listening, you may imagine that my voice is that of your most trusted friend, who is here to remind you of all the magical powers you have. To remind you that it's time to take care of yourself and indulge in all the wonders that await you in the sleep story and adventure. Tonight's story you may allow to play out like a dream, where the lines between reality and your imagination may blur to create the experience that best suits your needs right now. And at any time you like, you may let go of my voice and answer the beckoning of restorative sleep. It's your time to do with it what you will. Get as cozy as you possibly can in the safety of your bed. Clear your mind, feeling it open as the sanctuary for your hopes and dreams. Wiggle out your impressions of the day and sink down into your bed. Stretch your arms overhead and take in a deep breath into your belly that you yawn out. You let your body know it's time to stand down and prepare for sleep. Sigh it all out and ride the exhalation into another place and time as you inhale and exhale again. Your breath becomes the vehicle that transports you to this other world. Over the city skyline of Manhattan, you take in a sweeping aerial view of the Empire State Building that glows in dynamic autumnal hues of orange and green and gold, with its spire reaching towards the night sky. Soaring over the lights of Times Square and the rectangular dark formation of Central Park, you find yourself tucked in a crowd of locals. You are on a street of historic brownstones and buildings that lend a feeling that is timeless. You sense the cool air on the tip of your nose and smell nuts being roasted at a nearby food cart. Your hands are adorned in ultra-soft knitted gloves, and a scarf is wrapped around your neck. You wear your favorite belted fall coat that comfortably hugs your waist and makes you feel snug and warm. One of your hands holds a hot beverage, made from a local shop, and the steam rises through the opening in the lid. You take a sip and feel the sweet, warm beverage cascade down the back of your throat. It warms you from the inside out. Your muscles now feel like they have extra protection from the chill of fall. For as far as you can see, the streets are made colorful by attendees and the famous Macy's Day floats that are in different stages of being inflated for the following morning's parade. The air is festive with the camaraderie of the volunteers who traveled near and far to partake in the preparations and assemble the floats. You stop to see your favorite float behind a barricade of metal gates and wrap your hand around the cold metal railing for balance. You watch as it grows, tethered by strings, and begins to rise. As the balloon is inflated with helium, you simultaneously take in a deep breath and feel the expansion of your heart and rib cage towards the sky, relishing the crisp autumn air and the splendor of feeling alive. You continue through the lineup of floats and see children attending. Some sit atop their father's shoulders, and others are pushed in strollers. Their young eyes are as wide as saucers, and you look to their excitement as they experience these things for the first time. Their spirit is infectious, and it causes you to pause and smile. They remind you to appreciate the simple pleasures. That joy is everywhere when you pay attention. You continue along and feel the crunch of fallen yellow and orange leaves. Beneath your most comfortable shoes, they blanket the tree-lined street. The ceremonious experience feels exclusive to the select few who are privy to this inside view of the floats that will be broadcast on television tomorrow. It feels like you are in on a big, glorious surprise. Preparations for the holiday await you at home. You finish your warm beverage and exit along Central Park West. You pass by the Museum of Natural History as you walk southerly along the park's edge. You walk by empty metal stands that will be full of attendees watching the parade in the morning. As you walk, you imagine what it must feel like to float above the city streets, tethered and guided by the hands of those who came to volunteer in the parade. To be free and yet connected. It seems like the perfect balance. You sense what it would feel like to hover above the city, nestled between Beaux Arts buildings and Central Park. In the park, the trees have yet to shed their leaves, and you look up to the muted jewel-toned trees that form a canopy overhead. Through the burgundy and deep orange leaves, you make out the lights of historic buildings that line the walkway. A squirrel scampers on the triangular arc of the stone wall that surrounds the park and runs quickly with an acorn jutting out its mouth. You approach your block and cross the street. Looking down Central Park West towards the lights of Midtown and the streaks of yellow cabs dashing downtown. You walk beneath the emerald green awning of a 20-story 19th century building with ornate Renaissance trim. The doorman tips his hat in a familiar greeting. He holds open the wrought iron door, and the door's detailing always reminds you of metal black lace. Your feet click against the marble floor of the lobby that has already been decorated for the holidays. Boughs of holly hang from the wainscoting, and the room appears to be wrapped in a verdant green bow. A silver tree is posed near the elevator and adorned with handmade ornaments from the building's resident children. You press the elevator button. The gold doors open and you enter, feeling this is your portal to the respite of your apartment. You press your floor number and the elevator rises. The ascent conjures a sensation of weightlessness and drifting towards the sky that you imagined a parade float experiences on its annual southerly march. The elevator bell dings and the doors open onto your floor. You glide across the taupe and sand-colored hallway rug past various glossy ebony doors until you reach your own and insert the key into the lock. The door opens into a foyer and you are greeted by your furry pet. You remove your coat and scarf and shoes and glide your feet into a pair of slippers gifted to you by a loved one. With each cushioned step, you feel like you are stepping on marshmallows that land on the hardwood floors. The hallway opens into a kitchen that is remarkable in size for most city dwellings. It is designed to your taste preferences, with pops of color that soothe you and make you feel at home. Your pet goes to a water dish and laps away. You go to the deep sink and turn on the warm water. From a mason jar soap dispenser, you pump out a dollop of lavender soap. You coat your hands and the soap comes to a lather. Your fingers tingle, adapting from the chilly outdoor air to the warm water that now cascades over them. It feels nice to be indoors, comfortable at home in the quietude of the apartment. A terry cloth dish towel hangs on the tiled backsplash, and you quickly dry your hands with it. You preheat the oven and then walk to the fridge to remove the homemade pie crust that has been properly chilled. You take a canister of flour with a dough and a pastry mat and rolling pin to a center island with a marble countertop. The island is as long as you are tall and gives you ample space to finish preparations. You sprinkle flour on the mat and watch as the white dust spreads like snow. You rub its silky texture between your fingers and feel present and calm. You recall the first time you ever used a rolling pin. You think of all the wonderful pies you have enjoyed, made from the hands of someone you've loved. You pat down the dough before dusting the pin and begin to roll it back and forth. The smooth wooden pin glides across the pie dough that stretches thin and reveals bits of butter that appear like tiny yellow gems. These bits will make the crust flaky and indulgent. Once wide enough, you neatly fold the four sides like an envelope and place the uncooked crust into a cobalt blue ceramic pie pan. As you unfold the crust, you can hear the whispers from conversations of celebrations past. You walk to the stovetop and grab a saucepan. It contains the pie filling that has been properly setting while you were gone, and you relish the feeling of warmth that rises from the pan. The filling is your favorite, and you fill the crust accordingly, topping it if necessary with more crust. The sweet, delicate steam rises to your nose. You take in a deep breath and get lost in the meditative art of baking. You watch your fingers as they press the edges of the crust, and you think of the greatest conversations you have had when gathering with loved ones over dessert. You think of the memories to be made tomorrow when the finished pie is revealed, and you feel pride to bring loved ones together. You open the oven and welcome the wave of dry, hot air that envelops you as you set the pie on the wire rack and close the door. While the pie bakes, you go to the main area that serves as a dining room and living room. Double French windows run from floor to ceiling and open out to Juliet balconies that look down on the park in the most romantic view. Tonight you see the crescent of a moon that hangs in the sky above the city. And for a moment you think of what it feels like to get lost between the moon and New York City. Tomorrow you will have a bird's eye view of the parade making its way through town, and you will be eye to eye with the floats. The room is comfortable and stylish and completely suited to your preferences. The space is softly lit with warm tones and colorful lamps. You flip on a switch and an electric fire poofs to life, and the flames dance against the restored fireplace. You look at the dining table, and it gives instant flashes of dinners and gatherings over time. You run your hand against the cool, grained surface. The linens and table settings are in boxes on the floor, and you open them to set the table in advance. Your furry companion takes a seat atop a throw blanket on the sofa and dreamily meets your eyes before looking at the fire. You remove a linen tablecloth and open it, flapping it towards the ceiling with your arms extended. You place it on the table and smoothen the edges, and think back to the kind souls of holidays past who did the same with a tender touch and heart. Your family traditions and memories come wafting through the room as you take out the silverware and begin to polish it. You think back to your earliest holiday memories and the peace that comes in rituals. However the world may change around you, however much time may pass, you may hold on to these familiar customs to remember who you are and who you have been. To remember that life is full of precious moments and periods of joy that may be derived from the most simple of pleasures. The fragrance of the baking pie warms the room with a hint of buttery pastry smells and the scent of the sweet filling. You put the plates down and then roll the cloth napkins around the silverware, enjoying the routine practice that once again becomes a meditation. You hear the voice of an older mentor in your life who had a lasting impact and even now comes to you with tender memories. This person's encouraging words return to you, and you know the power of the right words may carry you through the most uncertain of times. Floating on these memories, you feel a warmth inside and a soft smile that accompanies each task. Memories come in layers, and while present, your mind drifts on the fluidity of time. It feels so good to go with the nostalgic wave and realize you have become you with all these impressions over time. The holidays highlight them all the more because of the traditions that existed before you. And now you carry the torch. You remove long tapered candles from a box and run your fingers along the cool wax before placing them in a candelabra in the middle of the table. You then take boughs of silk autumn leaves and drape them around the candelabra and place settings like thick ribbons of fall foliage. By the time you are done, there is a river of autumnal colors running across the table and cascading like waterfalls down the edge. The table is now dressed artfully by your design. It is the augury of the celebrations to come. You stand for a moment and hug yourself as you moonily look back at the table and smile. The timer dings in the kitchen to alert you that the pie is done. Before you leave the room, you look at your pet, with paws paddling in the motions of a dream. You return to the kitchen and take a pot holder from a hook on the island. You open the oven door and are once again awash with the hot air as you remove the bubbling pie and set it on the cast iron grills on the gas range. You close the door and turn off the oven, pausing as the heat warms your legs. You close your eyes for a moment, and it feels as if you are basking in the summer's sun. You listen to the clink of the glass as you set it in the sink, before you return to the living room to cuddle next to your furry friend. The animal stirs and comes to cuddle in the nook in your legs, and you cover yourself with a plush throw blanket. The fire creates shadows that dance on the crown moldings of the high ceiling like theater players on a stage. The apartment's embellishments are from a time when craftsmanship mattered and are reminders of its long history. For more than a century before you, souls sought refuge in this abode and looked out unto the beauty of Central Park. Now it is your turn. With gratitude, you look to the walls and the ivory-framed windows and remember that you are just passing through. All is temporary and all will change, but right now is what you have, and it comes with more than enough to be thankful for. Outside the window, you see snow flurries begin to magically fall on the park. You sink deeper into the couch and sigh at the same time as your pet, as you both relax in tandem. You feel the satisfaction that comes from a day well spent, full of productivity and happy goals. You look again to the windows and see the Central Park Lake gleaming in the light of the moon. You see the skyscrapers of Central Park South that create a wall of lights at the edge of the park's dimness. Your imagination drifts to the morning and the parade of floats, as once again you surrender to the sensation of floating between memories of holidays gone by, floating between being tucked into the soft sofa by the fire and the sleep world that awaits you. Imagining yourself floating along with the parade High above the glorious city, you feel light and free. You feel safe and content. Your eyes close and you begin to drift away from my voice, away from the city that never sleeps, as you find yourself falling to sleep, letting go and surrendering to the sensation of floating towards your dreaming life, where your favorite memories and your dearest loved ones may visit in the sanctuary of your mind, letting your deepest wishes be revealed and for nostalgia to take hold, feeling warm and safe, feeling loved and tended to, feeling like you are where you were always meant to be. As you surrender to yet another night in this life, to healing, restorative sleep. And I am going to count you down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Finding peace, finding rest, finding sleep. It's time to dream away. Good night.